Welcome back, loves. In this video, I will be discussing and talking about the disturbing case of Robert Pickton. This one gets quite disturbing, so please don't watch it if you are sensitive. And let's just get right into the case. Welcome to all the new people, and let's just begin. Okay, so the Pickton murders case. Let's first discuss a bit about Robert's background. Not a lot of details about Pickton's life prior to him becoming serial killer are currently publicly known due to Canadian publicity laws regarding ongoing criminal investigations. What is known is that he was born in 1949 in Port Coquitlam, probably saying that wrong, British Columbia. His family has been pig farmers for 3 generations, but by the time of his arrest, Pickton had largely given up using the farm for actual farming and only raised a few pigs to sell to friends and neighbors. He and his 2 siblings, David Francis Pickton and Linda Louise Wright, inherited the family pig farm where Robert later committed his murders. In 1994 and 1995, they sold parts of their inherited land, earning a total of $5.16 million. In 1997, Robert was charged with the attempted murder of a prostitute named Wendy Lynn Eastside, having tried to stab her, but the case was dropped because prosecutors felt that the victim, who was a drug addict, was too unstable to give an accurate testimony, even though both the victim and Pickton, who suffered a stab injury during the encounter, were treated at the same hospital, and a key to the set of handcuffs on her wrist was found in Pickton's pocket. David, on the other hand, has a criminal record for sexual assault in 1988 and also has been sued on 3 occasions for various traffic offenses. So let's talk about the day that it all started. So it's February 6, 2002, and police descend upon a pig farm owned by Robert Pickton to execute a search warrant for illegal firearms. What they were about to uncover would go down in a tale so horrifying, bizarre, strange, and macabre that it would be the stuff of films you'd only see in films and of nightmares. But this was no nightmare or horror movie. Unfortunately, this was real life, and the belongings of many women who had gone missing were about to be uncovered. So as they searched the grounds, they found remains of some victims, such as skulls cut in half and stuffed with human hands and feet, DNA from 33 women, bloody clothing belonging to a victim, and a jawbone and teeth belonging to one victim. They also found a .22 revolver with a dildo attached to its barrel, and a .357 Magnum rounds, and 2 pairs of faux fur-lined handcuffs, a pair of night vision goggles, and photos of a garbage can containing the remains of a victim. Pickton claimed that the dildo, which had the DNA of both him and a victim on it, had been meant to function as a makeshift suppressor. The gun also contained a spent cartridge, and while in custody, Pickton told an undercover officer, posing as a fellow inmate, that he had wanted to kill one more in order to bring his victim count up to an even 50. That's just so wrong. Suggesting that he is responsible for 49 murders. A video recording of the statement was later used as evidence in his trial, which began on January 30th, 2006. So like they always say, it's the quiet ones you gotta watch out for. And Robert Pickton was no exception. Quiet, reserved, and seemingly well-behaved. They called him Willy, and he was the last person authorities would assume was a maniac serial killer. But behind the simple farm life exterior was a madman with a dark, twisted secret who went undetected in his serial killing spree for years. He was someone who no one would suspect was butchering women. Although his demeanor was that of a friendly, reserved pig farmer, Robert Pickton wasn't without a wild side. He converted a building near the farm itself into a party palace, where he would host wild, illegal parties for himself and all of his friends. He appropriately named the nearby building the Piggy Palace, and would often have gatherings there where he would drink and use illicit drugs. Pickton took his party life seriously enough to set up a non-profit charity called the Piggy Palace Good Times Society. It is said that his parties were attended by as many as 1,700 guests. It should be noted, too, that it wasn't all good times at the Good Times Society, as these parties were entirely illegal, and Pickton and his brother sold liquor at the events. illegally, and they would also charge an entrance fee to raise money, which presumably went right back into the ongoing parties at the property. It's very possible that the Picktons never raised any money for any real decent cause, but rather used the society as a front to pay and charge people money while proclaiming it all went to some public good. Or maybe the nonprofit organization was just a front to rake in serious cash. The Pickton farm, located near Vancouver, was a disheveled, creepy place and proved suitable grounds to scare the living hell out of anyone, especially once news of the massive killing rampage came out. As mentioned, Pickton and his siblings sold most of the farm, and when all was said and done, he was left with a 6.5-acre piece of property where he would do his dirty work. The property was strewn with scrap metal, non-working cars, random trucks, and the like. In short, it was a scene out of one of the modern remakes of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre series. And there's something about this eerie, rustic scene of death and violence that makes us all cringe, and the Pickton Pig Farm was definitely that. It's reminiscent of Ed Gein's House of Horror and Dismemberment in Wisconsin. Scrap metal, blood, and rust always seem to make for the darkest scenes in real-life horror, don't they? There is no definite line for Robert Pickton where authorities can say for certain that he began killing. The possible time frame for his murders is as long as a stretch as starting way back in 1978 and ending in 2001. Though he would be convicted of murders that took place between 1997 and 2001, a bare minimum of 65 women disappeared from Pickton's preferred Vancouver hunting grounds between 1978 and 2001. And even after the largest investigation in Canadian serial killer history, we're still uncertain which was the first Pickton murder. So I'm going to start talking a little bit about the trial. So Pickton pleaded not guilty to 27 charges of first-degree murder, one of which was later rejected on the grounds of lack of evidence. Because of the publication ban, not all the details are publicly known about the proceedings. The 26 charges were split to 6 of them, those of Maureen Lee Frey, Georgina Faith Papin, Brenda Ann Wolfe, Andrea Joseberry, Serena Abostwe, and Mona Lee Wilson, were processed first. According to the presiding judge, it was because all 26 charges would put too much strain on the jury and because the evidence in those 6 counts was materially different from the other 20. On December 6, 2007, a jury found Pickton guilty of the 6 murders, which were reduced from first-degree to second-degree murder. He was sentenced to life imprisonment, which in Canada entails a possibility of parole in 25 years, and is the highest possible punishment for second-degree murder, essentially earning Pickton the same punishment that he would have received for a first-degree conviction. On August 4, 2010, the other 20 charges were stayed. 3 appeals had been filed since to the British Columbia Court of Appeal. The first one made by the defense was rejected, and the one made by the prosecution was allowed on the grounds that the trial judge had made a mistake in excluding some evidence and in splitting the charges. Pickton's defense then filed an appeal with the Canadian Supreme Court, which was rejected on July 30th, 2009, and he is currently incarcerated. A spokesman for the Crown stated that the other 20 charges are likely to be discontinued. The RCMP and Vancouver police have suffered some criticism for their way of handling the case, such as the 2 agencies withholding information from each other. The RCMP have been called arrogant in Canadian media and said not to work well in tandem with other investigative agencies, as exemplified during their turf war with the Canadian Security Intelligence Service during the investigation of the 1985 India bombing. The Vancouver police has also been criticized for not taking action sooner and not taking the disappearances of so many women seriously. Because the Pickton case is still under investigation, exactly how he killed his victims is not entirely known to the public, as is anything he might have done to them before killing them. According to a witness on tape, Pickton had claimed that he brought his victims, who were prostitutes, to the farm, handcuffed them, raped them, killed them by strangling them, bled and gutted them, ran them through a wood chipper, and then fed their remains to his pigs. Another claim is that the victims were ground, the resulting mince mixed with the pork mince found from the farm, and the packages given to Pickton's friends and family. Oh, this is just so gross. It was stated in a biography channel documentary about the case that Pickton would lure his victims to his farm using a simple ruse, such as pretending to buy sexual favors. During sex, he would become violent and accuse the victims of something such as stealing from him. In order to build up his rage, he would then restrain them, kill them by strangling or shooting them, and then butcher their bodies. So, absolutely disgusting stuff, you guys. Very detailed and gruesome. It's just such a horrifying case. So with that being said, we want to pay as much respect as we can to the victims and their families. And I just want to say that before getting into them. So the confirmed victims, which were murders from Pickton, have been found guilty. August 30th, 1997, Marnie Lee Frey. 1999, March 1st, Georgina Faith Papin, who was 34. February of that same year, Brenda Ann Wolfe, who was 32. 2001, June 5th, Andrea Joesbury, who was 23. August 1st, Serena Abostwe, 29. November 23rd, Mona Lee Wilson, who was 26. The next ones are going to be suspected disappearances and murders, which Pickton is currently on trial for or implicated in. So August 1991, Mary Ann Clark, who was 25. December 1995, Diana Melnick, who was 20. 1996, in January, we have Cara Louise Ellis, who was 25. October, Tanya Hollick, who was 23. 1997, March, Andrea Faye Borhaven, who was 25. April, Sherry Irving, who was 24. August, Helen May Hallmark, who was 32. December, Cynthia Felix, who was between 41 and 42. So, January 2nd, 1998, Carrie Koski, 38. February 26th, Inga Monique Hall, who was 46. April 13th, Sarah Jean de Vries, who was 38. November 20th, Angela Rebecca Jardine, who was 27. 1999, January 21st, Michelle McDonald, who was 23. December of that same year, Wendy Crawford, 43. The same year, December 21st, Jennifer Lynn Firminger. December 31st, Tiffany Drew, 28. In November 2000, on November 1st, Dawn Teresa Cray, 42. December 21st of that same year, Deborah Lynn Jones, 43. 2001 of March, Patricia Rose Johnson, 24. March 16th, Yvonne Marie Bowen, 34. April, Heather Chinnock, 30. April 17th, Heather Kathleen Bottomley, 25. October 19th, Diane Rosemary Rock, who was 34. So, going into my intuitive predictions as a medium and psychic, I do want to say that, not that it's an excuse at all, but I do want to mention that Pickton had a very disturbing past and childhood, and I actually do see him being abused quite often. I do pick up on his mother being extremely emotionally not available to him, and I do smell a very stinky manure-like animal scent in my senses whenever I go into the energy of this. It's very disgusting. So at first I thought it was just maybe the pig farm itself, because they had a pig farm, but it's actually Pickton himself as a child, and I am hearing that he didn't shower very often, and he was just a very dirty little boy. And I am hearing that his mother would pour scalding hot water on him. Now, please keep in mind that this is just my psychic abilities and what I'm getting from my psychic abilities that I'm giving to you guys. It's what I'm picking up intuitively and from my spirit guides and from his energy as a child. And I am getting that his mother would pour this scalding hot water on him and just tease him that he smelled very bad, even though I am also hearing that the whole family smelled like that. But I do pick up that he didn't have, he was very lonely. I'm getting a lot of depression and loneliness in his energy, and I'm actually seeing in my visions him becoming friends with a pig, best friends with this pig. And then I am being told that this pig actually passed away. And when this pig passed away, Robert was extremely depressed because it really was his only source of emotional comfort, which is extremely sad and disturbing on so many levels. And the family just has a very animalistic energy, honestly, around the whole family. And it's just, he just did not have a good childhood at all. And he just grew up with this non-emotional attachment to humans. He sort of looked at everyone like they were animals, is what I am really getting. In regards to the murders and the disgusting things that he did, I am picking up that he did commit all of these murders, and, you know, that's that. That's what I am getting, you guys, psychically from the whole thing. It's pretty, I mean, the story pretty much tells everything. There isn't really nothing being hidden from anybody. It's pretty, there's a lot of details I just gave you guys, and from what I'm getting intuitively and psychically, that these are all pretty accurate. So I was hoping that I would pick up that maybe some of the suspected victims he did not have anything to do with, but I was not getting anything in regards to him being innocent with any of the victims that were suspected and the ones that were confirmed that he murdered. But that's it, you guys, for this case. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Please subscribe, like, share. It really helps my channel out, and I'm going to be announcing some new stuff very soon in regards to some changes that I want to make in regards to my content. So stay tuned for that in a few days, and I hope you guys have a great day or night. Bye, everybody.